We know Kansas City Mayor Quinton Lucas joined protesters yesterday, was even there the day before, asked everyone not to let violence muddle their message and their calls for change. And from what we've seen and what we've broadcast live, didn't really happen. Mayor Lucas joins us now by phone. Mayor, thank you for joining us this morning. We saw objects being thrown at police, people, the press. People in the crowd damaged cars and set fires. This is not what you had hoped for or what you would ask the public for yesterday. What's your take on what we saw last night?
You know, I think, first of all, we saw throughout most of Sunday, and I was there talking to protesters, listening, some people angry with me, some people angry with a system that allows things like the death of George Floyd, was good, peaceful protest. I think we saw a lot of people leave by 8 p.m. at the curfew time, and I think that what we saw was what we need to try to keep our country moving forward. However, about 8:30, 9 o'clock, as we had seen the nights previously, there was a smaller group that was hell-bent on creating more destruction in our community. It was frustrating. We saw several cars lit up. We saw incidents where things were being thrown both at journalists and at police. And from all of that, we saw nothing productive about the message on how we can change our city, our community, relationships between our black community and the police for the better. That's unfortunate. That's regrettable. But today is a new day, and we'll continue to try to remember the legacy of George Floyd and certainly the work that we're trying to do to make this country better.
Right, and we saw, as you said, many people in the beginning of protesting yesterday try to get that message out there and get it heard before this violence. Many people, we were showing video, Mr. Mayor, of the tear gas and the use in the crowd. Some of the protesters had complained, claiming that it's escalating the situation and even inciting violence in the moment. We know police say it's done in self-defense. Do you agree with the tactics you saw police using?
You know, I think what I'll say is this. I review everything. I will talk about that with the police chief, I have no doubt, today and in the days ahead. And so I think, as we noted from our change from Saturday to Sunday, for example, we had allowed people to march in the streets after on Saturday folks said that that was something they didn't want. We adapt policies. We'll communicate with that, but I'll make sure that I actually look at it in a closer review before making any statement as to right or wrong, just based on Twitter or something like that.
Sure. We talked about this yesterday morning, and you touched on this a minute ago. In light of what happened, I'll ask you again. How does our community move past this violence, this destruction, this angst we're seeing in pockets of these protests and find some common ground? How do we start that constructive conversation on the changes that need to be made when you're getting this mixed messaging that we're seeing?
You know, I think that if people actually listen to the pain of a community, if people are actually listening largely to the black community, and I'll just be honest, if you are actually talking to someone who says, I know this, I've experienced it, like me, or my son, or my husband, or whomever, right, knows this fear, that's where we want to center it, or my daughter or my wife, right? That's what should be the center of this. This is not about, this frankly isn't about even what's happening at the protest at 11 p.m. George Floyd lost his life in the middle of the day in Minneapolis, right? We want to avoid situations like that. You, in some parts of our country and over time, can't be a black man in the middle of the day being potentially charged with a misdemeanor. That's the problem. The problem isn't if people, you know, got treated well enough while they were breaking glass at a cupcake shop on the plaza, right? That's ridiculous and totally a distortion of what this moment is about. And so I hope that people actually center back on the message, caring about the people that we are trying to protect, and I think that's the way that we move forward.
If more protests do happen, do you anticipate another curfew? I know we saw people allowed to stay out after 8 last night. You just said some of them, many of them went home. How effective was that new step, that new precaution, in your opinion?
You know, I think it was very effective. We had a good deal more people that were actually out on Sunday night and far less destruction, far less concern. And I think a big part of that wasn't because of necessarily anything we did. It was because of people heeding the message. And so, you know, look, I don't like issuing curfews just like I don't like issuing stay-at-home orders. This has been a weird first 10 months to be mayor. But, you know, I think we will certainly do whatever we can to keep our community safe.
All right. Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quinton Lucas, thank you for having this conversation with us this morning. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks.